Hello. I can hear me, so I'm assuming everybody else can hear me as well. Hi, always here for quality, not quantity, at these kind of speeches. So thank you everybody for coming along today. My name's Jack Porteous. I am representing Samarkand Global. We're a cross-border e-commerce company. I'll explain a little bit more what that means with regards to China in a second. And I'm really privileged to be joined by Jessie Han, who's just sat over there. She's going to join me in a little minute. She's from one of our clients, Temple Spa. And the big thing we're going to talk about today is the opportunity that live streaming in China presents, which I think is one of the most exciting opportunities in global e-commerce at the moment, and will be for the next 5-10 years because of the scale of growth and change and opportunity and innovation that's happening in that market. This is who Samarkand are. I won't dwell too much on this. We're about 7 years old as a company, so we're quite young, but that's quite old in Chinese cross-border e-commerce terms. And we are twin headquartered between the UK and China, so we've got one office here in London where I'm based, and we've also got a team who are based out in Shanghai. And we've got some really amazing partnerships that enable us to integrate with e-commerce platforms and customs and logistics providers in China, so that we're the gateway into the entire ecosystem for international brands, European brands primarily, who are looking to enter the Chinese market. So what are we going to talk about today? Just a very quick intro to China's e-commerce market. I guess some of you might have been to presentations in the past before and know a little bit about it, but it changes quite quickly. It's quite hard to keep up with, so hopefully a little bit of new information and an update. Social commerce, what is it in the context of China? We'll be talking about that and the major platforms. And then we're going to get straight into live streaming, show you some videos of some live streams from different platforms. Jessie's going to help explain what's going on in those live streams, because they're a bit bamboozling at times. And then we're going to talk about Temple Spa, why they decided to go into China, how live streaming has changed their business, and what problems it's caused them as well, and how they've overcome them. So I always start with, it's time to rethink Chinese e-commerce, because it's basically always time to rethink Chinese e-commerce because it changes so fast. So why now? This graph on the left shows you pretty clearly that Alibaba is the biggest e-commerce platform in China and continues to be. But that aside, it is losing market share. It's still growing because Chinese e-commerce is growing so fast, and I'm careful not to overly insult our guests from Alibaba in the audience today as well. But the truth is that a lot of the growth is happening outside of the Alibaba ecosystem in the last few years, and that's because of some interesting new entrants into the market, particularly in the live streaming space and social commerce. So the next guys down are JD. They've managed to maintain a pretty stable market position throughout the last few years. A company called Pinduoduo, PDD. I'm sure that you will have all been bombarded with advertisements for an app called Temu, T-M-E-U, which is now everywhere in the UK. That is the international arm of Pinduoduo. It's a super cut price factory or farm to consumer platform in China, so cutting out a lot of the middlemen. So that's really taken a lot of the very low value e-commerce market share in China. And then the most interesting one, which starts out at 0% in 2020, and this year is expected to be over 10% of the total e-commerce market, is Douyin, which you may better know as TikTok over here. They're slightly separate ecosystems, but it is broadly the same platform, and they're both owned by the ByteDance company. So why are we seeing these changes? There's a bit of uncertainty in the Chinese economy overall at the moment, and value is a big purchase driver, so people are shopping around. A lot of these new to market platforms are able to offer great value to customers and are aggressively pursuing people based on the value and the cut prices or additional gifts that they're offering with every purchase. Social commerce has grown, so as people have gained authority in the market, as their voices have grown in importance, they've been able to take extra market share, take market share away from brands selling on platforms like Alibaba direct to their consumers and move it to kind of e-commerce boutiques within the Alibaba ecosystem or on Douyin or on other platforms that then make a bit of a dent in that market, but it creates new routes to market for international brands, new ways of conveying authenticity and trust to consumers, and new ways of convincing people that your brand is something that's worth buying. Overall, it's become a more fragmented ecosystem. Those numbers don't add up to 100%. I'm not going to do it in my head right now, but I think it's about 90% between those four that are on there. So there's another 10% of the market that's made up of people like Kuaishou, who you've never heard of, I'm sure, who are, or some of you will have, but most people have never heard of, which is a short video streaming platform. It's a competitor to TikTok, Douyin. Little Red Book, which is a social media platform that's also investing heavily in live streaming. WeChat, another social media platform that's recently launched live streaming and also has other e-commerce solutions. There's an app called Dewu, which is really focused on streetwear and people that are really focused on specific tribes of consumers or on particular kind of tiers of wealth within China. So why are we talking about live streaming, and why do I say that it's one of the most exciting things that's going on in global e-commerce at the moment? So the GMV, the gross market value, which is what Chinese e-commerce platforms measure themselves on, is forecast to reach 4.57 trillion RMB this year, which is about 630 billion RMB. It's more than 30% growth since last year, since 2022. And actually is the largest, it's more than 50% of growth in Chinese e-commerce is coming from the growth in live streaming. Lots of companies joining the race, but the other thing this is doing, China's been long famed for huge shopping festivals. So things like Double 11, which is the most famous Singles Day, it's also called. It's kind of flattening out the e-commerce calendar a little bit with live streaming, because you've got always on value. Customers are always able to get a deal on different live streaming platforms, so the attraction of the Black Friday equivalents in China are, they're less attractive than they were in the past, when that was really the moment to unlock all this big growth. So our view at Samarkand is that in China, decentralized e-commerce, as we call it, is the new normal. We wrote a little report about it last year. Links there. It's available on our website, very easy to find. I think it's brilliant, not only because I wrote it, but I just think it's a great report. It's got everything you need. But there's a number of reasons why this is such a big cultural phenomenon in China. As I mentioned, new channels, more fragmentation. It leverages Chinese cultural preferences to shop from people that they know and trust, rather than from a brand that they maybe haven't heard of or they're encountering for the first or second time. It's taking your products to where Chinese consumers are. So they're not necessarily shopping on the same e-commerce platforms as they were 5 years ago, but they are listening to people that they consider to be knowledgeable on a particular product set, particular category, or a particular lifestyle, and they want that advice and those recommendations to be able to choose the best brands. I was expecting a rammed audience, and I was going to do some audience participation here to see if people know the logos, but I find as half the people in the audience are my colleagues, it's probably a little bit awkward and if they don't know it, then we're really in trouble, aren't we? So I'll talk you through them. The first one is Douyin. That's the TikTok equivalent. Then it's Kuaishou, WeChat, Little Red Book, and then the final one is Taobao, which is the Alibaba small business to consumer platform. So why is live streaming become such a big thing? And how does it work, right? We've got a couple of live streaming companies exhibiting over here. I think they're all taking their inspiration from what's happened in China over the last 2 or 3 years and trying to figure out how that fits in with a Western market. So if you want to be ahead of it, I think look at what's going on in China, download the apps, watch some live streams, try and figure it out. So the consumer tunes into a live stream, they either do that algorithmically through their phone, so it might just pop up because they've watched similar content. They'll drop in because they're interested in the product, or they've pre-planned to watch that live stream because it's their favorite celebrity or their favorite influencer who's doing it that week, and they've put a little reminder in on the app that sends them a push notification at the time when the product that they really want to buy and get the best deal on is going live. Live streamer introduces, demonstrates products. We'll see a bit of that in a minute in a video. And then at the end you have this, like, quite often you build up to like this big countdown, and then they shout, "Put the link up," or something like absolutely like over the top, as if it's some huge kind of Butlins event, right, where everybody has to get involved. And then the link goes live, and the reason they do that is they build up the demand, and then it releases the demand by creating the sales link. You can see the purchases going up to 100, 200, 300, 400 units kind of live on the screen as a consumer as well. And it creates this idea that it's a popular product and it's something that you should buy and it's something that other people want to buy. Things to consider if you want to go into live streaming in China. From our perspective, you need a partner. Samarkand Global are one of those partners, probably the best. You need live streamers with an authentic voice for your products. Just, choosing a really famous comedian or someone in China to push your luxury skincare might not be necessarily the best fit, and you might find that that's not what his consumers are, or his followers are interested in purchasing. But somebody who used to be Miss China, or somebody who used to be a model or an actress talking about their skincare regime is a really good fit. The live streamer's commission is really high, so unlike in Western markets where influencer commissions kind of hover at affordable, that's not quite so true in China, and you have to have a really strong pricing structure, P&L monitoring in place to make sure that you are being profitable and that everybody's making money and you're not just making money for the celebrity that you're live streaming with. Stock prep is really, really difficult as well, because you often have to get your products to China first, so you've just got to make sure that you're ready to adapt. People never want 20 units of something for a trial. They always want 1,000 units of something because they want to have the opportunity to maximize their sales. So you've got to have a really strong roadmap for how you get from 0 sales to that 1,000. And then pricing structures. So I'm going to invite Jessie up now, and I'll bring the clicker over.
Hello. Hello everyone, my name is Jessie. I'm from Temple Spa. In case you don't know about Temple Spa, we are a British skincare brand that combines cutting-edge technology and also Mediterranean botanicals. We entered the China market for almost 5 years now and have achieved quite great sales in the market. And here are some videos of us having live streamings with Samarkand and also the top 1 live streamer, Austin Lee in China.
Okay, let's swap sides so that you can talk about it, right? Okay. Here, say that. Okay, Jessie's going to helpfully explain a little bit about what's going on in these live streams. So I'll play the one from Cheryl on the left first.
So what we can see now is a live streamer, an in-house live streamer from Samarkand help to live streaming one of our most popular product, truffle mask, a gold mask, and she basically apply it on her face to explain to the customer how to use the product. And you can see there's live feed comments on the screen asking about the brand and asking about what product they can use, what is the benefits, and how much they can get the product. And the live streaming will explain the live questions from the customers.
Yeah, sorry, that video ended. So that one was on the Douyin platform, TikTok. And if I just go back, actually, to start that one again. We'll stop it in a second, but you can see in the top right-hand corner how many people are watching the live stream. That's one of the features on Douyin at any moment. So this one was pretty small, only 19, 20 people watching at any one time. But the average dwell time for a customer on your live stream is about 2.5, 3 minutes. So 20 people are constantly churning through. And even the bigger live streamers, kind of quite a successful live streamer who's able to sell thousands and thousands of units, they might only have 3,000 people watching at any one time, but because there's a big churn of people, you can really maximize sales over that time. Okay, should we do Austin Lee?
Yes. Yeah, here is Austin Lee. You can tell from the screen, his live streaming looks much fancier because he got the like digital screen behind of him, introduce what ingredients in this product, and there's a little screen pop-up that customer can buy the product as one link while he introduces about the product. There's a lot of comments asking if I have dry skin, can I use it? What is the price? I want something similar. Can you offer? What kind of is that best offer I can get? How much stock we can shop from this live streaming? So it's constantly new content that live streamer can talk about, and also help the brand to maximum the sales opportunities to really introduce the product in depth.
Yeah, and that was a clip of the overall live stream, so he spoke about the product for 5 minutes, something like that. Just before the start of this clip, there was one of his team had done a full face mask and had it on screen and was demonstrating the product. And you can see I've just clipped it there at the end when you can start to see the number of sales coming in. So just above the product link in the bottom corner, you can see there's a red box with the number of units. So at that point, 100 had sold. It went up and up and up from there.
Yes.
After that point.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to some still pictures now. Jessie, I'm going to ask you some questions.
Sure.
So you've just mentioned that you've been in China for about 5 years. What was the reason for Temple Spa to look at the Chinese market?
Well, China is the second largest economy in the world. For a brand really want to grow their business, we see China has a great potential. And during the past financial year, we already achieved 3.4 million GMV and expecting to double that digit this year. So the sales has proven we made the right decision.
Great. And let's talk a bit about live streaming then. We've just shown a couple of live streams. What kind of impact has live streaming had on Temple Spa's business in the last year?
During the last year, we have seen the live streaming become the largest part of our sales. Is about half of our sales come from the live streaming, and that really changed the consumers' shopping journey. Like before, they probably do a lot of research before they purchase a product, but during the live streaming, they can just make their mind just with a click. So that's a super quick shopping decision-making process, and also really helps the brand to maximum their sales.
Yeah, and has there been any notable moments, like people visiting Temple Spa headquarters or anything like that that's happened in the last year?
Yes, one of the worth mentioning KOL influencer we work with is this beautiful lady on the screen. Her name is Mia, and she is the largest Douyin overseas live streamer. And we have built a long-term relationship with her. Basically, we have regular live streaming with her on a monthly basis and give her exclusivity on a couple SKUs. And she have visited our headquarters for a couple of times, produce a lot of content, like interview our head of product to learn the formulation of the product, give her audience insight, but also really help her to understand our product better so she can really introduce our product well during her live streaming. And also she has like content with our founders and CEOs, so like proven she like her credibility of our with our brand to show her customer she is special with the brand and her the product she sells is authentic. And she also did a couple of live streaming in our headquarters that really had an impact on the sales.
Yeah, that's right. And you can see one of the founders of Temple Spa, Mark, with a gold mask on. He's not normally that color. On the live stream here. They get the consumers gave him a nickname, didn't they? They were all calling him Grandpa, which we wouldn't tell him to his face. But they really, really liked that authenticity of having the founder there. Mm-hmm. It made it feel like you're really interacting with this international brand. It's a legitimate company. They're very popular in the UK. They've got this amazing headquarters. Mm-hmm. It was a really good experience for Mia and for Temple Spa. So with Mia, you mentioned she's the #1 Douyin overseas live streamer. This year, you've also live streamed with Austin Lee, who's the #1 live streamer on the Tmall platform, with Angel, who's in the top 3 on the Kuaishou platform, and with, this isn't Dongjie, this is someone else, but with Dongjie, who is the #1 live streamer on Little Red Book. So is there a particular challenge when you're working with those kind of bigger names?
There's a lot of challenges. First of all, I feel the top live streamers, they are really hard to control. So they have the decision power. Like you can't really control what product they sell, and it's hard to argue the price with them. So you're right, it's very important to set up the pricing strategy in advance to make sure your price is protected. And second is they are extremely strict when screening the product, because they also want to maintain the credibility to their target audience. So there's like very strict process before they decide they can actually live stream your product, and a lot of extra paperwork, extra time and effort you wouldn't expect to just make your product live. And stock is also one of the biggest challenge we've been having during the past year, because the sales from the live streamer is unpredictable sometimes, and it just put extra risk on your cash and your stock position.
Yeah, that's totally right. So many good points there. I think just to really hammer home the one about stock and predictability, you know, that's a shared responsibility that we take between Samarkand and Temple Spa as partners. But the opportunity is huge. You just have to decide what your level of risk appetite is to stock up, to be prepared for the best case scenario, or to work with these bigger live streamers. For someone like Austin Lee, you've got to have about £200,000 at retail of stock available before he'd on one SKU before he'd consider working with you. So you've really got to have, you've got to be in the right place to be confident that he's going to sell through on that. If you've only been in China for 3 months and nobody's heard of you, sorry, it's probably not going to happen, even if you pay Austin Lee to try and make it happen, right? So you've got to pick the point when it's the right time for you on your journey, and make sure that you're ready for it, but also that you're not overexposing yourself.
Yeah.
So we're coming up to the end of the time. So the last question is, if we've got any brands or people who are looking at going into the China market or to do China live streaming, what advice would you give to them?
I feel there's a lot of risk to work with the live streamers, even they can bring huge revenue to your brand. So my top advice will be you will need some very stable sales channels to back up the sales and make sure you have a stable revenue source. And live streamer is a really, really good add-on to something you already built for steady in growth. And also prepare a buffer stock just in case there's extra opportunity happens. That's very important, because when live streamer wants something, they want it super quick. And if you can't provide the stock for them at that particular moment, they probably move on to something else, and you need to make sure you got the stock on your hand to seize the opportunity when it comes.
I think that's amazing advice. Thank you, Jessie. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. And just to finish with a little bit about who Samarkand are, this is some of the brands we work with. So you've heard about Temple Spa today. We've got a really lovely selection of health and beauty brands primarily that we operate cross-border into the Chinese market. And we think a little bit differently compared to everyone else, we think, looking at the China market. So we're super focused on social commerce. We're ready to react to opportunities like live streaming and scale up. We've got real expertise in beauty. We've got the dual headquarters between London and Shanghai. And that really helps us be close to the brands so we can build amazing relationships like we've got with Temple Spa here in the UK, as well as those great relationships with the sales channels and live streamers in China. If you want to get in contact, there's the email address. Please go to our website, download the report, come up to either of us after and ask any questions. We're happy to help. And thank you all for listening.
Thank you.